All right, let's dive into something really intriguing today. This idea that, well, that humanity kind of across the globe shares this fundamental ancient memory.
Hmm.
We're talking about the age of heroes, that luminous, almost mythical time.
Yeah, the time when our sources suggest gods and mortals weren't just, well,
They
coexisting.
were practically intermingling, right?
Exactly. And these huge, larger than life figures weren't just living through history, they were actively shaping destiny.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's amazing about digging into these sources isn't just that belief in this heroic age, but how consistent the story is about. Well, about how and why it ended. Did it actually exist, historically speaking? Or is it maybe more of a reflection,
Hmm.
kind of universal yearning we have?
A yearning for meaning, maybe,
Yeah.
for that divine connection.
Yeah, exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack what this Age of Heroes was, looking across different cultures, and explore the compelling reasons these sources give for why it finished, and ultimately try to understand its legacy for us now.
Absolutely. And when you look across these narratives, you mentioned Kurukshetra, Troy, Valhalla, ancient China, it's quite striking. They really do seem to form this deeply significant, almost cross-cultural understanding. It feels like a collective memory, doesn't it? A shared story about a time humanity felt closer to something
Bigger.
something divine. And then this profound sense of loss, of separation. It's a real journey into our collective past, maybe even our collective psyche.
Okay, so let's start unpacking that shared narrative. Let's begin with ancient India. Here, this heroic era is, well, it's beautifully woven into their whole idea of cosmic time.
The yugas.
Exactly, the Yugas. Our sources point to the Dvapara Yuga specifically as their age of heroes. And this isn't just a date, it's a whole phase in their cosmic clock.
A time when humanity was supposedly closer to divine truth than now in the Kali Yuga.
It's the era of the great epics, right? The Ramayana, the Mahabharata.
That's right. Filled with these incredible personalities, Rama, Hanuman, Arjuna, Karna, Bhishma, and of course, Krishna.
So what was characteristic of this Dvapara Yuga? It wasn't just powerful people, was it?
No, not at all. It was an era where reality itself felt permeable. The divine didn't just sort of nudge things along, it actively intervened, incarnated even, in response to adharma, to unrighteousness.
Wow. So like Dharma, righteousness, wasn't just an idea.
It was almost a force you could see. In battle, for instance, they fought wars with celestial weapons, astras, things of unimaginable power. And while Dharma could be complex, definitely challenging, it was still, a recognizable guidepost for society.
That's a vivid picture. So what happened? What brought this age of direct divine interaction to a close in India?
Well, the sources are pretty clear. The Kurukshetra War. The massive conflict at the heart of the Mahabharata, it's seen as this profound civilizational collapse. The ultimate reckoning, really.
And Krishna's role.
With Krishna's physical departure from the world, that's the trigger. The Kali Yuga, our current, more challenging age, begins. It's not that the divine just vanishes, Puff, but it definitely withdraws, moves inward.
Signifying the end of that direct, tangible closeness.
Exactly. The big battles shift from, external fields.
To inside us. The
Yeah.
struggle becomes internal.
Precisely.
Okay, let's shift west now to ancient Greece. It's fascinating how they had similar ideas, but a different flavor, a different philosophical lens.
Definitely.
They divided time differently too, the 5 ages: gold, silver, bronze, heroic, and iron. And what really stands out in the sources about the Greek heroic age is that it's uniquely honored. It's not seen as a decline like some of the others.
That is a key difference, isn't it? It's venerated.
Yeah. And this was the time that gave us figures like Heracles, Perseus, Achilles, Odysseus, Theseus, names we still know so well.
It's true, a unique veneration. And the Trojan War.
That really stands as both the climax and the tragic finale of this Greek heroic age. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, they aren't just war stories, are they?
No, they feel like much more.
They're elegies, really, mourning the passing of that greatness. You see heroes returning home absolutely shattered by it all.
Or just not returning.
Or not returning at all, yeah. The very fabric of that heroic world seems torn apart by the war itself. An internal collapse, in a way.
And then you get that really poignant line from Hesiod. Would that I had died before or had been born after, for now is the age of iron. Just paints such a picture of loss.
It really does.
So what do the sources say about the immediate consequences? Beyond the gods withdrawing, how did society change?
Yeah, the sources detail a pretty stark shift. The heroic age ends, and boom, the Iron Age begins. And it's explicitly described as the time when the gods pull back.
Okay.
Crucially, no more demigods are born.
Ah, okay. The pipeline is shut off.
Pretty much. And what follows is described as a time of just relentless toil, moral ambiguity everywhere, and this deep spiritual exhaustion. Hesiod's words aren't just sad, they're recognizing a world where those grand heroic narratives have kind of dissolved into just a daily grind and hardship.
The heroic ideal becomes this impossible memory.
Exactly, a memory of when the divine wasn't quite so far away.
Let's journey north now into Norse mythology. Stark, powerful stuff.
A very different feel, yeah.
Their age of heroes feels less like a settled past and more like this intense, urgent present, right? Existing right on the edge of Ragnarok.
The final battle, yeah, it hangs over everything.
And here you have figures like Sigurd the Dragon Slayer, Beowulf, Brynhildr. They embody this heroic ideal that's all about honor, vengeance, but also this deep,
Fatalism.
yes, fatalism, almost beautiful in its way.
It is. What's so striking about the Norse cosmos is just how harsh and fate-driven it is. Even the gods know they're doomed.
So the goal isn't escape.
No, not at all. The emphasis is all on struggling against that fate, but with dignity, with courage, unwavering courage. So when Ragnarok finally hits, gods and heroes alike, they fall in this huge, terrible battle.
The end.
Well, yes, but then, from that sacrifice, a new world is eventually born. So the Norse age of heroes ends in fire, absolutely. But it powerfully hints at rebirth. Not despite the destruction, but somehow through it. Through that courage.
Fascinating. Okay, let's turn to Mesopotamia, home of maybe one of the oldest texts we have, right? The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Foundational stuff.
Such a powerful story. Gilgamesh, this mighty king, his world just shatters when his best friend Enkidu dies. And in his grief, he basically abandons everything glory, kingship, and goes on this desperate quest.
To defeat death itself and the lessons he learns on that journey, that's really the end of his heroic age, isn't it? He finds out that even the greatest hero, someone who could, challenge the gods,
Still faces the same end we all do.
it's exactly mortality. And he comes to understand that true meaning isn't in escaping death, it's not immortality, it's in wisdom, humility, the legacy you leave, building his city, his actions.
And the end of the age for him isn't divine anger or anything.
No, it's intensely personal, an existential awakening, really. A man realizing he's not a god, he's mortal, and finding profound meaning in that.
Let's keep moving. Ancient China, here the heroes feel different again.
Very different, yes.
The sources talk about the sage kings Yao, Shun, Yu. They weren't warriors like Achilles or Sigurd.
No, they were enlightened stewards, heroes of wisdom, you could say.
Ruling with virtue, maintaining cosmic harmony. So how does that shape their heroic age and how does it end?
That's a really key distinction. Their heroism wasn't about fighting monsters. It was about maintaining cosmic order through perfect virtue. And the narrative says these ideal rulers, well, they gradually gave way to infighting, dynastic struggles, corruption, the usual decline. So the mandate of heaven, this idea that divine authority is granted to just rulers who maintain harmony.
It gets revoked.
Exactly. It's taken away from the wicked, the incompetent. It's not some external cataclysm. It echoes that loss of dharma in India or divine favor in Greece. But here it manifests as political decay, moral erosion. The decline is internal.
A loss of the principles that held it up.
Precisely.
It's just incredible how consistent these patterns are, even with such different cultural expressions.
Isn't it?
And the echoes keep going. You look at Japan's samurai epics like The Tale of the Hike. You see these heroes. Immense loyalty, incredible valor.
But ultimately overwhelmed by political reality and that deep Buddhist sense of mujo, impermanence, a different kind of end to an age of ideals.
Or Africa's griot traditions, remembering semi-divine kings like Sundiata. Their legacy lives powerfully in story, even if not in, modern government.
The power oral tradition there.
And in the Americas, Aztec, Incan myths, they talk about the fall of heroic ancestors, marking a separation from a purer time, leaving the current era feeling degenerate, distant from the gods.
It really is a global theme.
So, okay, stepping back, looking at all these incredible stories, all these different cultures, what's the big answer? Why did the Age of Heroes end? What's the common thread in these sources?
Well, a really consistent pattern does seem to emerge, doesn't it? Heroes arose almost universally when the divine and the mortal realms were incredibly close, intermingled, as you said earlier.
Right.
But then over time, there's this recurring theme. It's not usually portrayed as like arbitrary divine anger. It's human flaws, greed, pride, forgetfulness. Maybe just an inability to maintain that initial purity.
And these flaws widen the gap.
They seem to widen that crucial gap, yeah. And as these vices grew, the gods, almost across the board, pull back. They withdraw.
And the implication of that is huge.
It's profound. The world effectively becomes our own. The burden of creating meaning, ensuring justice, finding courage, it falls squarely solely on us. And maybe, maybe this isn't just about a literal historical event deep in the past.
What do you mean?
Maybe it's also a kind of psychological truth. That every civilization seems to collectively remember a time when it still believed deeply.
Before
cynicism.
Before cynicism replaced myth, maybe. And logic, for better or worse, replaced that sense of wonder.
That's a powerful idea. The world became our own as the gods withdrew. But okay, even if it ended, this age of heroes clearly didn't just vanish into thin air. What did it become? What's its lasting impact?
Oh, it definitely didn't disappear. It transformed. It became an archetype, didn't it? A fundamental pattern. Like a mirror we hold up to ourselves to understand what heroism even is, or integrity, or decline.
And scripture too.
For many cultures, yes. Yeah. It became scripture, guiding principles, lessons drawn from that idealized past to help navigate darker times. And maybe most powerfully, it became aspiration.
Aspiration, how so?
It reminds us that even now, even in what many traditions call a Kali Yuga or an Iron Age, we can still choose to live heroically. Maybe not with celestial weapons against actual monsters.
But through wisdom, service. Exactly. Through wisdom, selfless service, sacrifice, finding that heroic spark within our own, seemingly ordinary lives, our own reality.
Wow. What an incredible journey this deep dive we've taken today, exploring the shared human memory of an age of heroes and the deep reasons for its end.
It really is profound stuff. And as those sources seem to whisper across time, there's that echo, we walked with gods, now you must walk alone. But it adds, if you remember us, you will never truly be alone.
So, the final thought for you, listening. What does this all mean for you? How do these ancient tales of heroism, divine closeness, and then withdrawal, how do they resonate with your own sense of responsibility, your own courage? How do you find meaning in a world where maybe the burden of purpose really does rest on us? What does it mean for you to remember these heroes and to walk alone, yet perhaps not be truly alone? Something to think about until our next deep dive.